Hello everyone and welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host, Sean McGahee, and this is the show where we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. Now, normally I am joined by one of two co-hosts on this lovely show, either Joshua, the Dark Knight Del Angel, or Lisa, Watchtower McGahee. Yes, I just made those up on the spot. But Josh couldn't make it due to some scheduling conflicts again. And Lisa looked at the show notes for this week and said, quote, "Don't have anything really to say about these topics." So I decided to go it alone. My first solo mission. We'll see how I do. I'm really anxious to come off as entertaining to you folks who listen, and hopefully I'll do a good job. At the end of the show, hit me up at dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com or on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or any of the social media sites. Let me know how I did. But we're going to try to get into it as soon as possible here. It is March 1st, guys. I'm excited for this month. A lot of stuff is going to be happening. Now, coming out, I believe it's March 14th. Game of Thrones Season 5 comes out on Blu-ray and DVD. Totally psyched about that. Yes, I can watch them on HBO Now, the episodes, but the Blu-ray has all the special features, which I'm excited to go through. And then, of course, I'll binge watch Season 5 in order to get ready for Season 6, which comes out in April. So excited for that. Also, coming out this month, just a few days later, is one of my favorite holidays, St. Patrick's Day. And that's the day where I get to talk in an Irish accent the rest of the day, or at least try to. And everyone laughs and makes fun of me and thinks it's pretty silly. But, you know, I'm a silly guy, and that's how it goes. But it's my favorite holiday, and March 18th, I'm planning on being hungover. So luckily, I'm going to take the day off work. And another reason I wanted to take the day off work is because Daredevil Season 2 premieres on Netflix. And I'll talk about that here in a little later on, and the new trailer that just came out for that. Then, of course, the movie a lot of us have been waiting for, some more excited than others. Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice comes out March 25th. I bought my tickets just yesterday. They went on sale. So I'm excited to get in the theater, check that film out, and see if all my doubts were just for nothing in that regards. So we got a big month this month. I'm really excited about it. I'm sure Josh and Lisa will both want to be in here to talk about all these topics as they happen as well too. So without further ado, I'm going to get right into the topics for today. Speaking of Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, just a few weeks after the movie is set to come out, Entertainment Weekly has learned that the next film, Justice League Part 1, is going to start filming in the UK on April 11th. Now, of course, we have Suicide Squad coming at us in August, and Wonder Woman is filming right now in the UK or overseas. And then, of course, the film after that is going to be Justice League Part 1. Now, this is going to be a continuation of Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. We're getting Ben Affleck back as Batman, Henry Cavill back as Superman, Gal Gadot is going to return as Wonder Woman, and then, of course, we're going to get cameos from certain characters in Batman v Superman, which is Ezra Miller as Flash, Jason Momoa as Aquaman, and Ray Fisher as Cyborg, all of whom will be in the Justice League movie coming out in 2017. Looks like November 17th is when they have that planned. So everyone knows that I'm a little skeptical about the DC Cinematic Universe. A lot of it has to do with Zack Snyder. I don't think he was the right person to start this cinematic universe off. I'm not a fan of Man of Steel, given that I'm a big Superman fan. I don't like what he did with the Man of Steel. And this one I can see being a little better in regards to Batman v Superman because Zack Snyder's got a dark filmmaker perspective. So doing Batman, I can see him doing a little bit better. Superman, I don't think was his forte. Looking at his previous films, 300, Sucker Punch, Watchmen, I can see Batman being more up his alley than Superman, so I don't know why he did Man of Steel. But I'm going off subject here, so I'm going to try to stray back. Justice League Part 1 coming out. I want to say I'm excited for it because I really I've wanted to see a Justice League movie my whole life. I've been reading comics my whole life. I've been reading Justice League my whole life. I really, just like the Avengers, I want to see that team together. But I can't get excited about this movie or the prospect of this movie starting to shoot until I see Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. The only film I've seen in this DC universe has been Man of Steel, which I have not liked. And everything I've seen of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, I'm very hesitant as well. The only two things I am not worried about in this film are Henry Cavill as Superman, because I think he's a fine Superman, and Ben Affleck as Batman. I know there are a lot of haters out there, a lot of Batfleck haters, but let me tell you, boys, when you walk out of that theater, you're going to be singing a different tune, because Ben Affleck, he has grown as an actor, as a filmmaker, and I think he's taking this role very seriously. I think he's going to be phenomenal in it. And anyone who's a hater, I think come March 25th, you're going to be eating your words. So yeah, Justice League Part 1 will begin shooting soon. Now that goes against some other reports we heard last week or the week before, given that a source says that Warner Brothers executives saw a cut of Dawn of Justice and they weren't too impressed with it. Didn't say they didn't like it, it just wasn't what they thought it was going to be. Maybe it wasn't like the huge blockbuster behemoth they thought it was going to be. And then they said that there was rumors that they were talking about delaying Justice League and Aquaman and all those other movies. But this goes against it. This comes from Entertainment Weekly, which is said to be a reliable source. I mean, I read Entertainment Weekly, so I trust them and whoever their sources are. So in that regards, it looks like Justice League is on the right track. In regards to the DC Cinematic Universe, I'm going to say one thing that I think all of us should be thinking, and something that Warner Brothers should be thinking. They're behind in this race for superhero film dominance. Marvel has over a dozen films out now. DC tried to start it off years ago with Green Lantern starring Ryan Reynolds. That film was a dud, so they had to restart with Man of Steel. Now they got Batman v Superman, then they got Suicide Squad coming out, etc., etc. The problem is much like myself, Man of Steel, it seems like people that I talk to either love it or hate it. I'm on the hate side, sorry, I am, but it's kind of 50-50. It wasn't the beloved first film of a cinematic universe, kind of like Iron Man was. I don't think anybody disliked Iron Man and what that was. So we had a good lead up to it. With Marvel Studios, before the Avengers, you had Iron Man 2 and The Incredible Hulk that really didn't hit too well, but you had Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor that all hit really well. Those were the main characters in the film, so when Avengers came around, we were all getting psyched for that. Man of Steel, and how I feel about it, does not get me psyched for Batman v Superman. And if Batman v Superman doesn't deliver or get me back on track or get me into the DC cinematic world, I'm not going to be psyched for Justice League. So in that regards, I don't want Warner Brothers or DC thinking they have to play catch up just because they're a couple films behind as well. The last thing or the worst thing they can do is try to catch up or try to, speed themselves up and just, knock out a bunch of films. That's not the right thing to do. The right thing to do is to just make quality films that people enjoy, because if they enjoy them, they're going to make money and you can make more of them. Don't worry about trying to get Justice League Part 3 out the same time as Avengers Part 3. It ain't going to happen, okay? Just go at your own pace. You're a little behind, but they say it's a race. It's really not, okay? It's not. Every time an Avengers movie strikes gold, it's good for the DC characters as well, and vice versa, okay? It all helps the genre. Bad films that are cranked out really quickly, just try to catch up to their competitor, that hurts the genre and that hurts everyone. So, yes, they're falling behind, and I want them to take their time with Justice League Part 1 and Part 2 and just, do a good job, because these are characters that I love, that I grew up on, and I want them to just get it right. Sound fair enough? Okay, I think I've talked enough about that, so let's move on to the next subject. So UFC champ Ronda Rousey is talking again about wanting to expand her acting credentials. A little while ago, she expressed a desire to play Captain Marvel in Marvel Studios' upcoming film. Now she turns out she wants to be in a Metroid film. Metroid being a classic Nintendo video game, and she wants to play the title character of Samus. Did I say that right? Samus? 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 Samas? No? Whatever. I never played Metroid. I'm not gonna lie. I never played the game. I was more of a Super Mario guy, and then from there I moved on to Zelda, and then of course I played Sega with Sonic the Hedgehog, but I was never a Metroid guy. I always liked Zelda and Super Mario. Those are kind of my things. But anyway, Ronda Rousey saying she'd love to play the title role in Metroid, saying, quote, "That would be badass. I love how people found out later that it was a hot chick on the inside. And then most of the day, you're in a suit. So you can just hang out and eat donuts and be the star of Metroid. I hope they make a movie out of that." Just, of course, to let you know, as of what I know, there are no actually plans to make a Metroid film. The video game film industry, of course, is kind of in the crapper right now. There haven't been too many very good video game movies. In fact, I can only think of one off the top of my head, and that is the original Mortal Kombat, which is awesome. You can call it awesomely bad, it's fine. You can call it that, but it's still a lot of hell of a fun to watch, I tell you that. And every other film that is based on a video game besides that is crap. Now, we do have several video game movies coming out, such as Warcraft and Assassin's Creed. People are hoping that these films will be good, so they'll help jumpstart the video game film genre. That being said, if it does do well and Metroid is picked up to be a feature film, Ronda Rousey, no. Sorry, no. This girl, I respect her as an athlete and a fighter. She's great. But the only films she's been in were, what, Furious 7 and Entourage. Both of which she did not impress me at all. In fact, she did the opposite of impressing me. She was pretty awful in those small roles she had. Now, word has it, she wants to improve on her acting career. I heard she's got an acting coach, and it's said that she's going to star in a remake of Roadhouse. For that, which I do not disagree, because I'm sorry, nobody can replace the Swayze. It just can't be done. No, but whatever. She can get better as an actress, you know. It has happened. Channing Tatum. I thought he was the worst actress in the world for a long, long time. But in recent years, he has gotten better because he's worked at his craft. He's got acting lessons and all that stuff, and he worked at it. And now he's actually pretty good to where I don't mind him playing Gambit in an upcoming X-Men film. Do I think he's the best person for the role? No, but I think if he puts that kind of commitment that he's put into continuing to improve as an actor, I think he can do pretty good at that as well. Ronda Rousey, same thing. She can learn to be a good actress, okay? If she has the right skill set and continues the right training, she can be a good actress. My thing is, she's a UFC champ who actually is no longer the champ right now. If I were her, I'd be more focused on getting back your title than your acting career, okay? That's just me, because one depends on the other. No one's going to care about you being in a movie unless you're a UFC champ. I'm sorry, that's just how it is. If you're not a good actress, you have to be a good fighter. Once you become a good actress, who cares about the fighting? That's fine. But until then, focus on your UFC career, and in time, maybe in many, many years from now, when a Metroid movie does get optioned, maybe Ronda Rousey's acting chops will be up to par to where she can carry a film. But as of right now, or any time in the recent future, I just don't see it happening. So I'm going to say ixnay to that, even though I'm not even a Metroid fan. Me personally, I'm still waiting for my Zelda movie, okay? Where is the Zelda movie, people? We gotta see it. Sonic's happening. Super Mario Brothers, you know, I'm sure they're going to get their second chance. Where's Zelda? It's ripe for the taking, kids. Okay, next up, we're going to talk a little Bond. James Bond. That's right. In an interview with The Short List, Daniel Craig's longtime friend Mark Strong commented on the actor possibly not continuing his career as the super spy anymore. Strong said, "Do you know what? I've had love to have played the villain in a Bond movie while Daniel was doing it because he's a pal, and that would have been great. But I think he feels like he's minded. He's done what he wants with it. That point has come. So, nothing's official yet, guys. Just to let you know, this is just Mark Strong as a friend of Daniel Craig allegedly saying what his friend said. Nothing's concrete. Daniel Craig or Sony has not come out saying that Craig will no longer be James Bond or has moved on. So in that regards, before Spectre came out, Craig kind of talked about how he would want to take a break from the character. And honestly, it shows because Spectre, I saw it. Not his best performance. Daniel Craig is a good actor, and I think he's probably getting bored playing this actor. Spectre was his 4th time playing it, and usually by number 3 on the same character, it gets old. I mean, just look at Johnny Depp and Jack Sparrow. I got bored with that character by the 2nd film. And don't get me wrong, like I said, Daniel Craig is a great actor, but unless you give him good material to work with, the character can get a little stale. Now, Craig took over as the spy in 2006 Casino Royale, followed by Quantum of Solace, and then Skyfall, and then, of course, last year's Spectre. Now, Spectre actually falls short of kind of what other films did in the James Bond franchise. The previous one, Skyfall, made $1.1 billion worldwide, and this one only made $179 million. Now, $179 million is still a good chunk of change, but for a Bond film, for a brand film like that, falls a little short, I guess you could say. And frankly, I say move on. I mean, in Daniel Craig's tenure as James Bond, a lot of people say he's 2 out of 4. People like Casino Royale, and that's personally my favorite Bond film. And people like Skyfall, which I liked but wasn't a great. I like Quantum of Solace better than most people, honestly, because there was one night, I think it was the night before I was going to go see Skyfall, I watched Casino Royale, and I immediately watched Quantum of Solace afterwards. Now, as an individual film, Quantum of Solace isn't that great, but as a continuation of Casino Royale, I thought it was fine. You watch those 2 movies back to back, pretty good actually. The James Bond was after this rogue secret terrorist organization, and in Quantum of Solace, he was in that theater and he was taking pictures of all of them, and I thought they were going to continue that storyline into Skyfall, but it wasn't. They went a totally different direction, not concentrating on that. Spectre came back to that organization, which I was looking forward to in the film, but the way they did it didn't really pull it off too well, and they kind of wasted a great actor in Christoph Waltz, who I thought would make a fabulous Bond villain, but he did not pull it off. Again, it was the material, I think. It felt a little stale, a little dry for the film, the script and story and all that. Just, it didn't work. It was boring. I can see why Craig wants to move on after a film like that. And more power to him, you know. He gave us a couple of good years as 007, and if he wants to move on, that's great. And then we can all sit here and speculate who should be the next James Bond. I'm sure that'll be just super. And then when they announce the next James Bond, people are going to be mad about it, and then people are going to be happy about it, and then the internet's going to talk about it, and blah, 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 blah. My head's hurting just thinking about that conversation. So I'm going to move on from there. Okay, guys? Next up, we got a Pacific Rim sequel on the way. That's right, Deadline reports that Stephen S. DeKnight will take over directing the next Pacific Rim film from Legendary Pictures. Now, the previous film, Pacific Rim, was directed and written by Guillermo del Toro. Del Toro is going to stay on and help produce the film, but DeKnight is actually going to direct. Now, Stephen S. DeKnight is the creator of Starz TV show Spartacus, and he is also the showrunner of Netflix Daredevil Season 1. DeKnight has also worked on shows with Joss Whedon, such as Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, and Dollhouse. So the original Pacific Rim came out in 2016 and was a film about these human-operated giant robots called Jaegers against these giant monsters called Kaijus that were from another dimension. The film is kind of become a cult classic, and it grossed $411 million worldwide, but only 102 of that was domestic gross. Pacific Rim 2 is yet to have a release date, and I gotta say, I'm happy about this. Not only am I getting a Pacific Rim sequel, but I'm getting one of the guys who I'm really crazy about right now, Steven S. Knight. I love Daredevil Season 1, Spartacus, from what I know about. I never actually saw any episodes, but I heard it's really good. And then also, of course, he worked with Joss Whedon on Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel, two of my favorite shows of all time. Not really a fan of Dollhouse. But this is exciting news for me as a person who is on the Knight train. I'm excited to see how he does it. Now, this is going to be a lot bigger budget than he's used to because he's used to TV, and this is going to take a lot of special effects and a lot of balls to juggle in the air. For his first directorial debut, I'm not sure how he's going to go, but again, I'm anxious to see it. Pacific Rim was such a delight for me. I'm a child of the 80s, okay? And one of my favorite shows growing up was Voltron, about 5 space explorers who operated giant robot lions, and when they came together, formed Voltron, Defender of the Universe. And in that show, Voltron faced off against giant monsters. So when I went down to sit in the theater and saw these giant robots facing off against these giant monsters, it totally took me back to the days of Voltron. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, this is awesome. The only thing that's missing is a sword. Oh my god, they got a sword! It was terrific. One of the few films I actually saw in 3D and really enjoyed too. It was a little lacking in plot, not gonna lie, but the spectacle of it all, the action, it was phenomenal. I loved it. It's a guilty pleasure, you can call it that. But I like the film. I cannot wait for this one to come out, given the fact that Del Toro is producing and now Knight is going to be directing. Again, I just want this film to come out as soon as possible so I can get back in that theater and watch some robots fight some monsters again. It's pretty corny, pretty geeky, but goddamn, I love it. Okay, guys, so speaking of Daredevil, a couple weeks ago we got a trailer for Season 2, which is set to come out on March 18th. As I said previously, I will be hungover on that day watching all of Season 2. And actually, I just learned that 7-Eleven has a bring your own cup on March 18th and fill up a Slurpee. So not only am I going to be nursing a good St. Patrick's Day hangover and watching Daredevil Season 2, but I'm going to do it with a big tub of cherry Slurpee in my belly. It's going to be awesome. Just adds icing to the cake of that day. I can't wait for March 18th to get here because then I'm only a week away from Batman v Superman as well. So anyway, the first trailer for Daredevil Season 2 featured John Berthal as the Punisher and kind of described his whole part in the upcoming season, which was phenomenal. Looks like he's going to really challenge our hero, Matt Murdock, played by Charlie Cox, as his belief into what he's doing is right, or if he should be a little harsher on the criminals like Punisher is doing. Now, at the end of that first trailer, we got a sneak peek at Elektra, the longtime love interest of Daredevil, and she is going to be played by actress Elodie Young. I'm not familiar with her, but based from this new trailer, I'm already in love with her. That's right, kids. I love the second trailer that came out last week for this. It was great. It immediately wanted me to break out a copy of Daredevil, The Man Without Fear, and read that. That being probably the quintessential Daredevil story. If you talk to a lot of people who read Daredevil, it goes into his origin, talks about how he became Daredevil. Not only that, but his time before that and his college years when he met Foggy and also when he met Elektra. Elektra kind of brought out the adventure or the bad boy in Matt Murdock. He was studying law and trying to stay focused and be responsible, and Elektra came along and Matt just kind of couldn't control himself around her. He let out his wild side around her. And given from this trailer, that's what's going to happen too. We see them fighting together, Matt getting a little excited about it. So excited that it looks like there's definitely a love scene in there between the two of them too. So, hey, I'm all about Matt getting some action. But this trailer was just enjoyable from start to finish. It really, I don't know what else to say about it except for I want March 18th to get here soon. Please get here soon. I cannot wait. Daredevil Season 1, it was okay. I liked it. I thought it was good. I always say it was a good setup. It's like a first film that is a good origin story that you get introduced to the characters, and in the second film you can kind of just throw sheets to the wind and just go nuts and just really get in deep with the characters and the story and all of that. And that's what I feel like Daredevil Season 2 is going to be. We introduced all our characters and kind of set up the world in Season 1. Now we have Season 2. We can really get to the meat of it all. Go wild. We got Punisher. We got Elektra. It's going to be a really good season. I'm really excited for it. So far, Netflix's Marvel series, I'm impressed with. Daredevil, like I said, was good. I didn't love it, but I thought it was a good jumping off point. In fact, the series that I thought I was going to like least of the 5 Netflix series that's going to happen, Jessica Jones, was the second one to come out, and I liked it more than Daredevil. As a character, I do love Daredevil better, but Jessica Jones as a show, I thought was a better show, better characters, better development, controversy, all that stuff. It was really just a great show. Now I'm least looking forward to Luke Cage, actually, because I wasn't too thrilled about the actor playing that. But going back to Daredevil, again, totally excited for this. If you haven't watched Daredevil Season 1, I recommend you go check it out. There are parts of it that stray a little bit, but it's really a good series from start to finish. It's only 13 episodes. So in that regard, you can get through it pretty quickly. I'm getting so used to watching cable shows now, like Game of Thrones or Daredevil or Shameless. When I watch shows like Arrow or Flash that are 22 episodes long a season, I feel like they're way too long and there are a lot of filler episodes. I'm getting a little, spoiled in that regard. Because when you have 13 to 10 episodes a season and you're trying to tell a big story, there's not a lot of filler episodes like there are in a 22 episode season. So in that regard, I kind of like the cable shows better. I'm not going to lie. I think 13 episodes at most is a good length. And I'm excited for Daredevil. Oh my god, I am so excited for Daredevil. Okay, I just geeked out a little. I'm sorry. But December 18th cannot get here soon enough. The taste of Slurpee in my lips, I can already just... so good. Once it hits your lips, it's so good. Okay, guys, I'm done with that. But sticking in the Netflix world, I want to talk about another show that's coming out, Iron Fist. That's right. We get Daredevil Season 2 this month. And then in the fall, Luke Cage, who was in Jessica Jones, is getting his own series. Now, the next one we're coming out with, as far as I know, is going to be Iron Fist. And for those of you who don't know who Iron Fist is, here's a brief synopsis about it. Returning to New York City after being missing for years, Daniel Rand fights against the criminal element corrupting New York City with his incredible kung fu mastery and ability to summon the awesome power of the fiery Iron Fist. Iron Fist, I jumped on that character's bandwagon quite a few years ago with Ed Brubaker's Immortal Iron Fist run. If you really want to get a sense of the character, I recommend doing that. Luke Cage and Iron Fist, or Luke Cage was known as Power Man back in the 70s and kind of still is. He and Iron Fist had their own comic book series, and I think they're getting another one coming up as well. They're a good team. I like their chemistry. So in that regards, whoever they get to play Iron Fist, I think should be someone who has good chemistry with the actor they got to play Luke Cage. Now, according to Entertainment Weekly, who first got this report from that hashtag show, it is said that Game of Thrones star Finn Jones will be playing Daniel Rand or Iron Fist in the Netflix series. Jones plays Loras Tyrell in Game of Thrones and has appeared in The Last Showing and Sleeping Beauty. Of course I watch Game of Thrones. It's a fabulous show. If you don't watch it, you're stupid and quit listening to this podcast right now. Lord Tyrell, the character, I've only seen the actor in Game of Thrones, so I really can't judge his range. It's like when someone asks me if I think the kid from Kingsman could play a good Han Solo. I don't know. I've only seen him in Kingsman, so I don't know his range as an actor and his abilities. Eddie the Eagle is said to be a pretty good film, so when I see that, I'll get a better sense of his range. In regards to Jones, like I said, I've never seen him anything else. I don't know how he could play this character. But I will tell you this, it's in the description, kids. With his incredible kung fu mastery, whoever plays this character has to have the ability to kick ass, okay? You gotta, I just don't see that. Judging from what I know about Jones and how he is on Game of Thrones, I don't see him being a kung fu master. Now, maybe he can work at it. After months and months of training, maybe he can do it. I don't know, but just from what I know of him, I don't see it going. This report is still not official, so no one quite knows yet. But as of right now, I'm not on board with that. But then again, I've been surprised before. Kristen Ritter, I know her mainly as a comedy actress. I wasn't sure how she was going to do as Jessica Jones, and she blew me away. So maybe Finn Jones will come on and blow me away as Daniel Rand. I don't know. I hope not, because of all the Netflix series that Marvel is doing, the two I was most looking forward to were Daredevil and Iron Fist, because they're two of my favorite characters. Daredevil I'm good with. Now I'm more focused on Iron Fist and wanting them to get that right. I hope they really do. Okay, guys, so moving on really to my last little bit here of show notes. I had quite a few things that were actually on my agenda to talk about, but given that I am flying solo today, I kind of lightened my load a little bit into subject matters that I feel like I can really talk about. I had a story here about Sam Raimi directing a World War III film. I had a story here about an NBC show based in the DC Universe called Powerless. And then I also had another show about ABC doing another Marvel series, Marvel's Most Wanted. But I felt like by myself, I really couldn't contribute too much or have much insight into those things. So I decided to skip them a little. And I'm sure you don't want to hear me talk for too much longer. So last thing I'm going to talk about, Empire came out with a big article on Captain America Civil War. It's a great cover. It's actually the cover of it, or one of the covers, is imitating the last issue of the Civil War storyline. The last issue, I believe it's issue number 7, has Tony shooting his propulsor hands into Captain America's shield, and the cover of Empire is, imitating that. Really, really awesome. But in the magazine, they talked to some of the actors that are in the film, as well as the directors, Joe and Anthony Russo, and we learned a couple things. One of the things we did learn, on top of all the actors and the characters that are going to be in Captain America Civil War, there's another one joining them. Gwyneth Paltrow is going to return in Captain America Civil War playing Pepper Potts. Now, the last time we saw her as this character was in 2013's Iron Man 3. However, she was mentioned briefly in last year's Avengers Age of Ultron. Also, when they talked to the Russo brothers about this film, they were also talking about the next Marvel film they're directing, Avengers Infinity War. They're going to do part 1 and part 2. I guess Marvel was really happy with what they did with Winter Soldier, and I was too. One of my favorite, if not my favorite, comic movie of all time. So anyway, they said, quote, "We wanted Winter Soldier, Civil War, and Infinity War films to have a strong through line. We look at this movie as setting the stage for Infinity War, how it starts, and what condition everyone is in." So starting off with the first part of this, Gwyneth Paltrow as Pepper Potts in Civil War, great, fine. She's a kind of a staple of Marvel Cinematic Universe. So putting her in this film, we don't know if she's going to play a big part, but given that Tony has a big part in this film, and she is his love interest, his better half, so to speak, I can see her having at least a scene in this film, so that's fine. Yeah, Captain America Civil War seems like it has a lot of characters in it. That's why they're dubbing it Avengers 2.5, but it all depends on how they're used. X-Men Days of Future Past had a lot of characters in it, but not a lot of them had a ton of screen time. It all depends on how they're used, really. And I think the Russo brothers know what they're doing, judging from Winter Soldier, which, again, I love. So I'm not too worried about Pepper Potts going to waste in this film. And the second part of it, they're talking about Civil War being a precursor to Infinity War. It makes sense, because after this, we have Doctor Strange, and then I think we might have another Thor movie, and then we get Avengers Infinity War Part 1. So what I think is going to happen, this is my prediction, of course, guys, so take it for what it is, because it's probably completely wrong, is Civil War is hero against hero, and this is really going to break our heroes. I think at the end of this film, the Avengers team or heroes that we've gotten to know in these last dozen films or so are going to be broken. They're not going to trust each other. They're not going to like each other. And it's the superhero community is really going to be in disarray, I think, at the end of this film. But Infinity War Part 1, Thanos is coming looking for those Infinity Gems. And some of them are on Earth. And one of them is right smack in the middle of Vision's forehead. And I feel like when he comes for Vision, and he just rips Vision in half, which I really think he's just going to just literally rip Vision in half. That's when the Avengers are going to be like, okay, we need to put aside all of our bullshit and all of our problems and take this guy out. And I cannot wait for Infinity War. That is going to be something amazing. Captain America Civil War, probably my most anticipated film of the year. Definitely. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, one of the things that, as I watch the trailers for this film, kind of worry me a little bit is the character of Scarlet Witch. She was a big character in Captain America Civil War, and in that film, her and Steve went on the run as kind of the government was hunting them down, and they really formed a deep connection to each other, a deep friendship for each other. And that's what really got me kind of confused as I watched the trailers for Civil War, because if you saw the Super Bowl spot, Black Widow is on Iron Man's side. And I don't get it. After everything Natasha and Steve went through, how could she be on Tony's side and not Cap's side? Well, in that Empire magazine article, they talked also as well about reasons why characters choose one side or the other. So in regards to Falcon, they said, quote, Sam and Steve have become close confidants and good friends. Steve is the leader, but he definitely comes to Sam and bounces ideas off of him. It might delight fans to know that Falcon and Bucky were referred to as Cap's two girlfriends on set, which I find hilarious. As for Captain America's actual girlfriend in the comics, who is Sharon Carter, you might know her as Agent 13, played by Emily Van Camp. Van Camp said, quote, her character is willing to go the distance to protect Steve. And then another female that's going to be on Cap's side is Scarlet Witch, played by Elizabeth Olsen. And, quote, she's a complex character and extremely powerful, said Joe Russo. She doesn't really understand the depth of her power. I don't think anyone does. That can make her a frightening character, especially to the government. In this movie, we find her at the beginning of Cap's tutelage. He's showing her the ropes as an Avenger. So in that regard, Scarlet Witch, I think, is the only character who can give Vision a run for his money. Vision is going to be on Tony's side or Iron Man's side, and Vision, as we saw in Age of Ultron, is an extremely powerful character. The Hulk and Thor, being the other really deal breakers in this fight, are not going to be in it, which I think there's a reason for that. They're so powerful that no matter whose side they were on, that side was going to win. So taking those two out and putting them in their own movie, I'm fine with, because I feel like it levels the playing field more, unless it's Vision. Vision, again, has an infinity gem in his forehead. He's uber powerful. But given what I know about Scarlet Witch from the comic books, she also is an extremely powerful character. The only problem is she's at the beginning of discovering her powers. If she can learn to control herself a little more and unlock more of her potential, I think she could be the one character that kind of holds Vision at bay, which I think, again, their fight can be more of a flirtatious dance, so to speak, given that in the comic books, the two of them actually end up getting married, which, a little trivia there for you guys who don't know, and if you're thinking, what the hell? Read some Avengers comic books, guys, please. I mean, don't just go watch the movies. Actually look at the source material. If you want to recommend some stuff, I'd be glad to, but please just don't. If you really love the stuff, check out the source material because it's really good. So on Iron Man's side, of course, you have Black Panther, War Machine, Vision, and then, like I said, Black Widow. Now, getting to my quarrel with Black Widow choosing Tony's side, Empire spoke with Scarlett Johansson about that, and quote said, "Our new challenge in this universe is bigger than the Avengers. It's a school of thought that it needs oversight and management, some kind of ground rules. That seems logical, though Cap and I have had a bad experience with the man, so to speak. What Black Widow's really concerned with, though, is Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier. Barnes is a total wild card. He can't really be trusted because he's been psychologically compromised. He poses a threat. I think that's how Natasha sees it." When I heard this, it clicked for me. When I heard this quote, okay, now I get why Natasha is not with Steve. It's about Bucky. Bucky has been brainwashed, mind-wiped, reprogrammed for 70 years. Okay, he is a deadly killer, and like Johansson said, he's a wild card. So her not trusting him, I can see it. That's what it looks like this whole film is going to be about, is Captain America is standing by his friend while everyone else wants to put him behind bars or put him on trial for all the horrible things he's done. But when Captain America is at your side, people tend to rally beside you as well in that regards. So Black Widow's conflict in this all, I can see her flipping sides by the end of it. In the original Civil War storyline, a lot of people who are on one side of the fence jump to the other and vice versa. I can see that happening in this film. I can see people on Cap's side going to Iron Man's side and vice versa. But I like this article because it gave me more peace of mind as to why Black Widow and Cap wouldn't be on the same team given their close relationship that we saw develop in Winter Soldier. So now I get that. Now we know why everyone's with everyone. The lines have been drawn, kids, and I cannot wait for May 6th to get here to see Captain America Civil War, the next film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's going to be legend. Wait for it. Dairy. Okay, guys, so that is it for me for this week. Hopefully, you're still with me and you have been somewhat entertained by my rants and my ravings. I promise next week I will have a co-host again because I want to do a podcast for a long time, and the only thing that stopped me was not finding someone to do it with. I didn't just want to sit here in front of a mic week after week and just rant and rave like some kind of psycho nerd, so to speak. I wanted someone to bounce stuff off of. I think it's more entertaining that way for the audience, and it also helps me not seem really weird to myself. But if you have any comments, think I did a good job, think I did a bad job, want me to stop this thing altogether, hit me up, dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com. You can also hit us up on our Facebook group page or on Twitter, where I've taken Josh's advice and tried to put up a geeky movie quote, TV quote every day, so to speak, just to keep it interesting or just give me something to say. Because I also have my own Twitter where I post more geeky stuff, SLYM Dayspring 12. You can also hit me up on Instagram under the same screen name as well. So that's it, guys. That's all I have to say. Join us next week where, again, I will be joined by someone who hopefully won't sound as crazy as I think I am sounding as I talk into this microphone. But until then, guys, may the Force be with us all.